What's up, guys? I'm Landon from Shoeware, and today we're putting the newest models from James Harden and Damian Lillard shoe lines with Adidas head-to-head to see how they compare. So, really quick, if this is your first time checking us out, feel free to drop a follow or subscribe wherever you're watching, and give this video a like. We would greatly appreciate that. But now for a quick rundown of the box and the price. The Hardens come in a black box with some multicolor splotches that kind of cover it, and those do show up on a bunch of different colorways for his shoes, just not the ones that we are going to be looking at today. And then for the Dame 7s, you're going to have like a string or a line design showing up, kind of blowing his player logo up in the center on that box. But for pricing, the Harden 5s are a little bit higher at $130 compared to the Dame 7s at $110. But both shoes are going to range on the more affordable side of the spectrum. But that covers the box and the price for these, so let's move on. All right, so before I break down the performance comparison, I do just kind of want to briefly hit on the appearance for each shoe first. So starting off with the colorways, we're looking at the Adidas Harden Volume 5 Polka Dot Team Navy versus the Dame 7 Say Cheese. So for the Harden 5s, they have an entirely different look from last year's model, but I'm honestly not a huge fan. I think the midsole does look a little bit bulky, and it kind of has the same look from the front to the back. But, I can't really just pick on one shoe because the Dame 7s honestly have a similar look to last year's Dame 6 model. But, they did kind of add some patches on the side. And then on the inside patch, you're actually going to have his artist name, Dame Dollar. So, they kind of did just enough to keep my attention. But that covers the appearance for these shoes. So now let's go ahead and check out how each of these shoes hold up on the court. All right, so now looking more at the performance and the materials comparison, I'll start off with the cushioning for both shoes. So the Dame 7s go with the traditional light strike setup in that midsole for cushioning. And, they honestly have a really nice and balanced setup. And then the insoles actually have a pattern on there as well. They kind of added to the comfort. So these have a really soft feel, especially compared to the Harden Volume 5. They did flip up this 5 model from what they had been working with entirely on the previous Volume 4 model. And they went with what you call a future natural setup. So basically what that means is instead of the upper and the bottom of the shoe being glued together, they just kind of turned it into one piece, just one solid piece. And they did surveys and research. What they were trying to do is create something as close to the human foot as possible. And I just didn't really think that these turned out what they would have hoped them to turn out as. And they do have boost in the midsole kind of compared to the light strike from last year's model, but putting these shoes on, playing in them, you wouldn't really be able to guess that there is some boost in there. But, still with that, the Hardens are pretty responsive to all of your movements. And then moving on to the upper, that is, kind of where both of these shoes cut the cost. Using some cheaper textiles, the Hardens do have a little bit more of like a plastic feel and look running across the entire upper, while the Dames kind of give your feet, a little bit more room to breathe. The ventilation is better in there. Then even with the Achilles pillows inside of those Harden 5s, there is still some heel slippage, while the Dame 7s are really good for all-around containment. And then for traction, definitely one of the weak points for the Harden Volume 5s. It just slipped kind of everywhere. And just looking at the reviews from last year compared to this year's model, they took a significant step back. While the Dame 7s honestly give you a really consistent traction experience, the pattern on there is just a little bit better suited to fit your, side-to-side movements as well as your front-to-back. So yeah, definitely a better look for the traction on the Dame 7s. And then to finish up with sizing, the Dame 7s actually run true to your normal size, so you should be set there. But the Harden Volume 5s are just like a really big shoe. I actually went a half size down and had way more than enough room. So, if you are someone who likes a little bit more of a snug fit whenever you're playing basketball, you may even want to explore with going a full size down for this Harden Volume 5. So for the final ratings, I definitely like the overall design for the Dame 7s just compared to the Harden 5s. I think the midsole is a little bit bulky, and, I still do like that polka dot design, just not really the overall look for the model. And then the Dame 7s use a light strike midsole, which is not typically as soft as the boost that is in the Harden 5s, but it was in these two shoes, and, it's much better even. So I wasn't really impressed with the change of the design from the Harden Volume 4s to the Volume 5s. Even with less money going into the Dames, both the materials and the support is just going to be a little bit better, or maybe even a couple steps better than this Harden 5 model. But then jumping down to the bottom and checking out traction, the Hardens are durable, but definitely inconsistent. When the pattern for the Dames, it actually does hold up really nicely for both indoor and outdoor use. So that is going to lead to the Dame 7s winning each category along with the battle. So The Dame 7, it just really gives you a much better bang for your buck just based off of the overall playing experience. And, you know, it's even cheaper, so you have to love that part of it as well. And then just in case you do want a little bit more of an in-depth look at each one of these shoes, we do have individual reviews live for both pairs where I go a little deeper into both of these models. So feel free to check that out. But that pretty much wraps up our performance comparison for the Harden Volume 5 versus the Dame 7. If you are interested in purchasing either one of these shoes, just make sure that you check out the links in the description below. And then last, just feel free to leave a comment below if you like this video or just kind of letting us know any other shoes that you may want us to check out next. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for taking some time to watch. Until next review, I'm Landon from Shoeware. Peace.